Hello, hello. All right, now we're going to get right into our instruction, but before we do, let me go over the agenda. We're going to do some FlowCAD here. I know we love FlowCAD. I'm going to play a video for you, and then we are going to go over day 8 through 11 in your FSA countdown. Now, I know you may be wondering, do we still have to go through FSA practice if we're not taking the FSA? Yes, we are. We're still going to review our math skills, and there may be a time where you're going to come back to the math FSA, so we're going to be prepared. Fourth quarter is going to be reviewing all of our math skills, so we want to make sure that we definitely do that. After we finish going over the work and the answers for day 8 through 11, then you are going to do we're going to watch a Polygons Brainpop video that I have for you as well, and then you're going to go into your online centers, and you should be able to see that on the schedule that Miss Bruce and I have sent out for you. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen with you.
All right, check. Now 9 is a little bit magic. You can take it from me or from tragic.
Yeah, when you multiply by 9, the digits and the answers add to 9.
Hold up, tragic, I don't get what you mean.
Okay, take 9 times 2, which is 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9. And that's true every time. Check it out. 9 times 10 is 90. 9 plus 0 equals 9. 9 times 9 is 81. 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 times 8 is 72. 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 times 7 is 63. And 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 times 6 is 54. 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 times 5 is 45. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 times 4 is 36. 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 2 plus 7 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 times 1 is 9. And 9 equals 9. Do you want to know why I feel so fine? I got 99 kinds of rhymes. I got 99 kinds. Do you want to know why I feel so fine? I got 99 kinds of rhymes. I got 99 kinds of rhymes.
9 times 10 is 90. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 7 is 63. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 9 is 81. 9 times 6 is 54. And 9 times 1 is 9.
Do you want to know why I feel so fine? I got 99 kinds of rhymes. I got 99 kinds. Do you want to know why I feel so fine? I got 99 kinds of rhymes. I got 99 kinds of rhymes.
All right, now before we go over this, just to recap, we are going to continue with this packet because we started it before we left for spring break. And although it says it's for the FSA countdown, we're still just going to mainly covering these main domains right here at the bottom, which is operations, algebraic thinking, number and operations in base 10, number and operations fractions, measurement and data, and geometry. And all these standards right here, I know you're probably like, Mr. B, what is this? These are just basically all the lessons that we have covered when we were working on our workbooks in the classroom, okay? Now I'm gonna scroll down to day 8 through 11. Hopefully you have already finished day 8 through 11 before watching this video. If you haven't, it's okay, you can follow along. Now because this is new to me and I do not have a whiteboard to figure out, I am just going to highlight and read along and explain aloud. So make sure you're giving me your full attention, please. Now, first things first, first question, multiply 8 times 2. That's quick, simple, and easy if we are working on our multiplication facts and we know them. 8 times 2 equals 16. 2 times 8 equals 16. Those three numbers are in the fact family. We've got that down, okay? Next question. It says the cafeteria has 20 tables. There are six students at each table. Each student has 2 cartons of milk. How many cartons of milk are at each table? That's A. Then B says how many cartons of milk are in the entire cafeteria? So first we need to circle back. It says there are 6 students at each table. We know we have 20 tables. Each student has 2 cartons of milk. That keyword each is a keyword for something specific. Now we're going to look at A to see what that is. It says how many cartons of milk are at each table. If we know there are 6 students at each table and each student has 2 cartons of milk, that means on your paper you should have written down 6 times 2 equals 12 to figure out how many cartons of milk are at each table. And not just 12, we should have 12 cartons of milk. So make sure you answer the question. 12 cartons of milk is what we should have written down for our answer for A. Now, when we move along to B, it says how many cartons of milk are in the entire cafeteria? So now we're no longer just multiplying 6 times 2 because we're not figuring out the cartons of milk. We're figuring out how many cartons of milk are in the entire cafeteria. So you circle back to your word problem. The cafeteria has 20 tables. There's 6 students at each table. Each student has 2 cartons of milk. That means we need to break it down and do a two steps here with the word problem. First things first, we're going to use that 20 tables and the 6 students at each table. We're going to multiply 20 times 6, and we get 120. How do we get 120? Let's go back. When you're doing multiples of 10, which is that 20 with the 0 in it, you're going to cover the 0. You're going to do 2 times 6. 2 times 6 we know equals 12. You bring that down, and then you add the 0 that you see, which we only had 1 0 in 20. So you bring that down to your answer, and that's how you get 120. Now, if we're asking how many cartons of milk are in the entire cafeteria, that's not just one step, it's 2 steps. So we just finished one step. We did 20 times 6 equals 120. Now we're going to go to the next question, next part of the question. So now we're going to do 120 times that 2, because it said each student has 2 cartons of milk. If we're doing the entire cafeteria, we're using everything in this word problem to figure that out. So 20 times 2. So now we're going to do 20 times 2. But we don't really need to do that because we already did 20 times 6 and we got 120. Now we can just do 120 times 2, and that's much more simple than adding it all together. Now when we do 120 times 2, it's the exact same thing that we did before, which is multiplying by multiples of 10. All you're going to do is cover that 0 and 120. You're going to multiply 12 times 2. 12 times 2 equals 24. Bring that 24 down, and then you're going to bring the 0 that you see in your problem down. We only had 1 0, so we bring down 1 0 in our answer, and our answer should have been 240. But not just 240, it said how many cartons of milk are in the entire cafeteria. So 240 cartons of milk is a correct answer. Okay. Now we're moving to the next one, geometry. It says, which of the following shapes does not have 4 angles? If we're looking at our options, we have trapezoid, triangles, parallelogram, rectangle. Notice that rectangle, parallelogram, and trapezoid all have something in common, and that's something that we talked about that starts with a Q. I'm sure you remember quadrilaterals, which we know has 4 sides and typically would have 4 angles. Now, when we're thinking about a triangle, we know a triangle has 3 sides, so it's going to probably have 3 angles. So this question says, which of the following shapes does not have 4 angles? This one would have 3, so it would be triangles because it does not have 4 angles. Okay. Moving to the next question. It says, Stephen and Jenna each had their own pizza, cut into 6 slices. Stephen ate 2 slices of his pizza, okay? Now, first things first, before we continue moving, we go back to the top of that question. It says, Stephen and Jenna each had their own pizza, so they each have their own pizza, so I should have each of 1 fraction. Stephen has his fraction, Jenna has her fraction, and it says cut into 6 slices. Now, when we're thinking about that, 6 slices would be our total, and our denominator represents that. So it should be 6 as the denominator for both of those fractions. Now, if I keep reading, Stephen ate 2 slices of his pizza. So he ate 2 out of the 6 total slices of his individual fraction, his individual pizza. Keep reading. And Jenna ate 3 slices of hers. So we go to Jenna's. We know that it's 6 total slices. She ate 3 of them. So she ate 3 out of the 6 of her own individual pizza, her own individual fraction. Okay? Now, part A says, color in each pizza below to illustrate how much pizza remained on each of the 2 pizzas. So we know that we have 2 6 for one and 3 6 for the other. Part B says, who had more pizza remaining? So if Jenna had 3 6 of the pizza and Stephen had 2 6 of a pizza, that means that Jenna had more, but that's not what the question is asking. It's asking who had more pizza remaining, and that would be Stephen because he only had 2 out of the 6 slices. Okay, so our answer would be Stephen. Next question, it says, what is the length of the pencil to the nearest ½ inch? Now, when we're thinking about ½ inch, most of the time it's going to be a half, or we're thinking about fourths. Now, in this case, it clearly says nearest ½ inch. So we take a look at that, and that is 6½ inches. So you write your whole number 6, then next to it, you write the fraction 1/2, 1/2, and then if you would like, you can write IN for an abbreviation of inches, or you can write out inches all the way, INCHES, okay, 6½ inches. Moving to day 9 now, okay? First things first, Operation Algebraic Thinking question. So it says a store has 3 boxes of baseball caps. Each box contains 9 caps. Now, I just covered a keyword that we see a lot, and that's that keyword each. Now, if I keep going, I'm going to continue reading. It says, on Monday, the store sold 7 caps. How many caps remain to be sold? So, if we have 3 boxes of baseball caps, each box contains 9 caps, we know that keyword usually tells us to multiply. 3 times 9 equals 27, okay? So our number that we have right now and the work that you should have shown in your paper is 3 times 9 equals 27. It says on Monday, the store sold 7 caps. How many caps remain to be sold, okay? So if it said on Monday, the store sold 7 caps, that means that we have that keyword sold in that word problem telling us to subtract. We know this. So we do 27 minus the 7 that was sold. 7 minus 7, if you're doing this work on your paper, 7 minus 7 is 0. Bring down the 2. Our answer is 20. How many caps remain to be sold? And that would be 20 caps left over. Okay? Now, let's move to this question right here, geometry. Once again, this one should be pretty simple. We get a chance to draw here. It says, draw a quadrilateral that is not a rectangle. Now, we know that a quadrilateral is a 4-sided figure. And so you could have drawn anything, maybe a square that is not a rectangle. Anything that is not a rectangle that has 4 sides, you could have drawn it. So, for example, you could have drawn a square, or you could have drawn a trapezoid, or a parallelogram, or a rhombus. Okay. Next question. Ari and Natalie each have a box of donuts. Ari ate 3/8 of his box of donuts. Natalie ate 3/4 of her box of donuts. Who ate more? So when you're taking a look at these fractions, you need to figure out which fraction is closest to the whole to figure out which one ate more donuts. So when I'm looking at 3/8, first thing you need to think about is a number line. If I have a number line of 8s, that means after 0, I have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and then my whole at the end of a number line would be 8/8, okay? Natalie ate 3/4. So when I'm thinking about her number line, I would think about 0. After 0 would come 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4 would be the whole. Now, when you're thinking about that number line and if you've drawn it out on your paper, I'm hoping that you did, we know that 3/4 is much closer to 4/4, which is also the whole. 3/8 is nowhere near 8/8, which would be the whole for this fraction right here. So when it says who ate more donuts, we know that Natalie ate more donuts. Okay. Next question. What is the length of the pencil to the nearest quarter inch? Now we're talking about quarter here. Remember what we talked about with quarter? We're talking about a fourth. Now, considering that a quarter is a fourth, we know that vocab, we know that our answer should be 5 1/4. Okay. Next question. What is the value of 738 rounded to the nearest hundred? When you are taking a look at a number for the nearest hundred, you are looking at the hundreds place, but you're also looking at the tens place. That 3 is going to tell you whether to go up or go down when you're rounding to the nearest hundred. Clearly, 738, if I were to put it on a number line, would it be closer to 700 or 800? And your answer is 700 to the nearest hundred. Okay. Next question. It says an equation, we're going back to our operation and algebraic thinking here. It says an equation is shown. 6 times 9 equals blank times 6. Select the missing value. Now, if 6 times 9 equals blank times 6, that means they have to equal each other. They can't be different numbers, especially if we have that equal sign right there showing us. Okay, so 6 times 9 equals blank times 6. Select the missing value. We know that other side is 9. It should be 6 times 9 equals 9 times 6. That is also the commutative property that we worked on. 6 times 9 and 9 times 6 both equal 54. Okay. All right. Moving to the next question. It says, what is the name of a shape that is a quadrilateral but not a rectangle? Okay, so taking a look at a hexagon, you have to think about how many sides a hexagon has. Is it a quadrilateral? You have to think about a square. Okay, you have to think about a triangle. These are basically just knowing sides and knowing angles, and you will easily be able to tell that it is a trapezoid, that is a quadrilateral that has 4 sides, but it is not a rectangle. Okay. Next question, it says Sean puts tiles on his floor as shown. What is the area of Sean's floor? Now, when you are figuring out your area with the square units, all you need to do is multiply the column times the row. So you take a look at how many in the column, take a look at how many in the row, or instead of multiplying column times row, you can also take the time, which I wouldn't suggest, but you can always do that. You can take the time to count each of those individual equal squares, okay? Now, for me, I'm going to do the column times the row. Now, when I do that, I go straight down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. 5 going up and down. And how many going across? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 5, when we do column times the row, 8 times 5 equals 40. But it's not just 40 because we're working with area. So 40 what? 40, what did they use in the problem? Take a look. They used a foot for each of those squares. So we know that our answer should be 40 square feet. It wouldn't be foot because we have much more than one. So we have 40 square feet. Okay. Next question. It says the shaded areas of the circles below represent what mixed number? Now take a look at this. You know that this is 2 whole fractions right here. If this is a whole fraction and this is a whole fraction, a whole plus a whole, 1 plus 1 equals 2. So far our answer, we should have 2 as a whole number, but we're not done yet because we have to figure out what represents the mixed number. So it's a mixed number. So we have 2 written down, and then we take a look at the next fraction. How many are shaded? There are 1, 2, 3 shaded out of the 4 total. So in our answer, we should have 2 as the whole number, and we should have 3/4 directly next to it. 3/4 directly next to 2. All right, next question. What is the value of 442 rounded to the nearest 10? Now, when we are thinking about the nearest 10, we are looking at that ones place. So you circle your 10s, underline the ones, and you are looking at that 2. It's going to tell you whether to go up or go down, either to 440 down or up to 450. Now, if we're rounding to the nearest 10 and we're looking at the 2, clearly we're going to round down to 440. So our answer is 440. Okay. Last page, we are finally here. All right, taking a look, our first things first is that operations algebraic thinking. Now, First question says, write a multiplication equation that could be used to solve 49 divided by 7. 49 divided by 7. If I don't know my division, then I'm going to think of my multiplication. So if I don't know what 49 divided by 7 is, then I will ask myself, what times 7 would equal 49? Okay, and that's why it's asking you to write a multiplication equation, because when you can't figure out your division, you're going to use your multiplication. If you can't figure out your multiplication, then you can use your division. There's always two ways to figure that out. Okay, 49 divided by 7 equals 7. So write a multiplication equation that could be used to solve. In this blank, you should have written 7 times 7 equals 49. Right? So 7 times 7 equals 49. I'm moving on to the next page, or next question, I mean. It says the school bus has 18 rows of seats. All right, here we go. We're right into the word problem. But school bus has 18 rows of seats. There are 4 students in each row. Each student has 3 books to bring home. Part A says, how many students are on the bus? So first things first, we need to think about how many students are on the bus, okay? All right, next question. It says, Amber has a piece of paper shaped like a trapezoid. In what other category must this shape be included? Okay, so you have to think about what is a trapezoid? What category would it be in? Okay, must the shape be included? So would it be in a category with a rectangle? That's not a category. Would it be in a category with a square? No, that's not a category. Would it be in a category with a triangle? No, that's not a category. Would it be in a category with a quadrilateral? Yes, because a quadrilateral is a category for 4-sided shapes, and a trapezoid is a 4-sided shape. So your answer is quadrilateral. Next question. It says a classroom is shown. What is the area in square yards of the classroom? Now, taking a look, they're using foot, but clearly in our answer, it's going to be square feet. So first things first, when you're trying to figure out the area of this irregular shape, first thing you can do is still multiply the column times the row. So multiply the column times the row. So I'm going to do multiplying up and how many are going up and down and how many are going across. So how many squares? So here we go. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay? All right. Now our next section, we're going across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? All right. Now when we do that, we're going to make sure that we do 12 times the 9, and that equals 108. Okay? Oh, excuse me. 12 times 10. That's what we're doing here. 12 times 10. When we do 12 times 10, what do we get? 120. Okay? Right? Now, when we do that, we should have gotten 108. When we take a look here in this section, clearly we couldn't have done column times the row like we did for this section over here. As you see this in the regular shape, so it is divided. So you're going to do the same thing, but for this specific small section right here. So 1, 2 going across, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? All right, so we have 2 times 4, which equals 8. And you want to make sure that you didn't count any going across or going up and down along with this section right here. So we're going to go back over here and we're going to count those individual squares going up and down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It seems like Mr. B made a mistake earlier. So we have 11 going up and down. And then how many going across? So we take a look. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. And we know that 11 times 10 equals 110. Right? So for those that were following along with me, Mr. B made a minor little mistake here. He missed a square in the foot. So we should have had 110 from our beginning, and then we had 8 squares in that small section right over here, okay? So 110 plus the 8, because remember with irregular shapes, you figure out your column times the row in the beginning, and then you add at the very end for irregular shapes, and that's exactly what this is right here. 110 plus 8 equals 118, and that's our answer. But we need to make sure we include square feet, because in the question it says, what is the area, square yards. It says, what is the area in the feet, is in square yards of the classroom. If it is using foot, then we're gonna say square feet. So 118 square feet. What is the area in square yards of the classroom? It's describing the foot that it's mentioning in the question. They're using feet for each of these squares, so it should be 118 square feet. Okay. All right, last box. It says, what fraction is represented by the total length marked by the number line below? Now, when we're looking at a fraction number line like this, we want to see how many parts are divided in between each number. So after 0 and between 0 and 1, I want to see how many parts there are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 total parts in between 0 and 1. So that tells me that 1 would be, not only is this number line in between 0 and 1 into fifths, but the 1 would be a whole fraction, which is 5 fifths, which is 5 over 5. Now, the arrow is pointing at this specific line right here. So we're going to go back to the beginning of our number line. We have 0. Then we go 1 fifth, 2 fifth, 3 fifth, 4 fifth. Okay? So this arrow is pointing directly to 4 fifths. That next section over, that whole number would be 5 fifths. So your answer is 4 fifths. Okay? Now we have completed our instruction for today. You should have completed day 8 through 11. And next week we are going to do Zoom where I can see you face to face and we're going to be able to do some problems together. But for this week, we're going to stick to me showing you remotely on here. Now I'm going to show you a Polygons Brainpop video before I exit out and send you on your way. Okay.
Stop, Moby. Didn't you see the sign? It's hard to miss. It's a bright red octagon. An octagon is a polygon that has 8 sides. What is a polygon? A polygon is a shape with at least 3 straight sides that connect. Polygons are closed shapes, which means the sides connect together. The sides of these shapes do not connect, so they are not polygons. The sides of a polygon are always straight and not curved, so these aren't polygons either. We name polygons by the number of sides they have. A triangle is a polygon with 3 sides. A vertex is the point where the sides come together. A triangle has 3 vertices. I can think of polygons with more sides. What are some polygons with 4 sides? A quadrilateral is a polygon with 4 sides. Right, Moby. A square is a quadrilateral. It has 4 sides that are equal or the same size. A square has 4 vertices. A rectangle is also a quadrilateral. It has 4 sides and 4 vertices, just like a square. But a rectangle has 2 pairs of equal sides. Rhombuses, parallelograms, and trapezoids are all quadrilaterals. There are a lot of other shapes besides quadrilaterals. What are some shapes that have more than 4 sides? A pentagon is a polygon that has 5 sides and 5 vertices. The Pentagon is also the name of a government building in Washington, D.C. You can see why. Moby, can you think of something else that's a pentagon? Right. Some safety signs are pentagons. A hexagon is a polygon that has 6 sides and 6 vertices. Bees create nests by building honeycombs, which have 6 sides. The hexagons fit nicely next to each other, so bees can really pack them in. Can you think of something that's a hexagon? Right. On this soccer ball, the white patches are hexagons. Oh, and the black patches are pentagons. You're not supposed to play with that indoors. Moving on. A heptagon is a polygon that has 7 sides and 7 vertices. Can you think of something that's a heptagon? Cool! Some countries like the United Kingdom, Jamaica, Mexico, and Uganda have heptagon-shaped coins. An octagon is a polygon that has 8 sides and 8 vertices. A stop sign is an octagon. Some of the tiles on our kitchen floor are octagons too. A nonagon is a polygon that has 9 sides and 9 vertices. I can't think of anything that has 9 sides. Can you, Moby? Whoa, check it out. This glass is a nonagon. I bet you can't find something that has 87 sides. That's called an octacontaheptagon.
All right. Now, before you guys go, I just wanted to show you very quickly, if I can. Give me just a moment. There we go. I'm going to show you my picture that I have started, which is the Aladdin picture. Some of you already guessed it right. You're correct. I'm going to finish this one today, and then I'm going to start a new one today and send the starting one to you later today in the afternoon. Okay, so now you're off to your centers. You may either get on Imagine Math, get your Imagine Math lessons done for the week. You may get on Prodigy. I put the code on my Clever account on my teacher page, so go on there if you'd like to do that. Or you may do Coloring Squared, or you may do iReady Math, right? See you guys later.